All right, I think we're ready to get started. Good to see you guys. I'm Allie Newmeyer. I'm the school psychologist at John Long, and I have Rachel Bronick and Officer Alfonsi. Rachel's the school counselor at John Long, and then Officer Alfonsi's our SRO. So we're thankful that you guys can be here. This is also going to be recorded, so if you know of anyone who wants to watch it after, or any parents that wanted to make it that couldn't, feel free to let them know that it is going to be recorded. This is a topic that we became very passionate about because although technology and social media is very beneficial and there's a lot of positives, which I think is important to tell our kids that we do see those positives because it's just a part of their world, there's also a lot of negatives that we're seeing. There's a lot of negative impacts on our kids' development and social interactions, and so we want to continue the dialogue. We're going to do this tonight, but we're also hoping for future opportunities to discuss this topic because it's just is going to continue being an important thing that we're going to talk about with our kids because as we have evolved, technology is just increasing, as we've seen even through COVID and the virtual learning and everything like that. It just is getting bigger and bigger. So we thank you guys for being here tonight. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end, so feel free to reach out to us either after the presentation, or if you have any questions after you get home, you can follow up in email to any of us, and we would be more than happy to talk more about this. So. Officer Alfonsi is going to start off the presentation talking about his perspective as in law enforcement, and then Rachel and I are going to talk about our perspective as staff members in the school. And then we're also going to take an opportunity to go through some of the common apps that our kids are using in the schools and that they have come out and told us are their favorites. So that's coming directly from them. So without further ado, I will let Officer Tony take over.
Great. Good evening. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to set the stage, first of all, with some state statute regarding some very sensitive topics regarding child pornography possession, things of that nature, trafficking. So just want to make sure that everyone's aware that that's how we're going to start off, just to set the table so that when we go through some of the scenarios and things that have actually happened in the area in a little bit here, you'll have a better understanding of where that fits in with state statute. So right off the bat, Wisconsin state statute overview of causing a child to view or listen to sexual activity. Chapter 948 is the state statute chapter in Wisconsin that deals with child sex crime. It's a crime for anyone to intentionally cause a child to view an image depicting sexually explicit conduct if done for the purpose of arousing or humiliating the child. It's a felony that applies to explicit images of adults or minors. So in the scenario of a 19-year-old who would send a nude picture of themselves to a 16-year-old, this 19-year-old would be committing a felony. Possession of CP or child pornography, also in Chapter 948. Under Wisconsin's law, an adult or minor, and that's the big one that I want to relay, the minor can be guilty of this as well. It's not just an adult, but an adult or a minor who knowingly possesses or views a visual depiction of a child engaged in explicit conduct, including sexual or lewd depictions via text message, can face felony charges. So in a little while, you're going to hear about a situation that occurred last school year involving all minors, and I believe maybe one adult. These minors can technically be charged as an adult with a felony. So we just need to make sure that we're on top of things. Exploitation of a child. Wisconsin's law prohibits sexual exploitation of a child. It's illegal to create, distribute, or possess with the intent to distribute any visual depiction of a child engaged in any explicit conduct. It includes images of minors under 18, regardless of whether the sender is an adult or a minor. Trafficking. There's a pipeline right outside our door here from Chicago to Green Bay, over to Appleton, Minneapolis, Wisconsin Dells, 94, 43, the corridors. Trafficking is a huge issue that is out there, and I'm going to give you a very real, specific example in a little bit. Whoever knowingly recruits, entices, provides, obtains, harbors, transports, patronizes, or solicits, or knowingly attempts to do any of those things of a child for the purpose of a commercial sex act is guilty of a Class C felony. So as we move along, online predators, just a simple definition: someone who uses the internet to seek out vulnerable children and adolescents for exploitation or other abusive purposes. We have an example as well that just occurred a couple weeks ago that we dealt with at the school. And the biggest way they do that is by grooming. Now, the idea of grooming, it's using what the kids are most vulnerable with to their advantage. Giving them fake attention or affection, using a very manipulative process. They give them gifts, they offer them things, they play on their weaknesses. Now they do this again just with their natural curiosity. They gradually will introduce explicit images to see what the boundary is, to see how far they can push it with a particular child. The offenders will also use their status as an adult to control the child's behavior and guilt them into doing things. And then again, they'll offer gifts. The big thing that we're seeing is gift cards right now. Gift cards for any gaming platform or to the store. Like all they do is they send the code on the gift card. They don't even send the gift card itself. They don't need to. If you have the code, you can use it. So the big one is gifts. Now, if you're sitting at home with your kids and you're wondering if there's something going on, what are some signs? The gift thing, calling unknown numbers, suddenly rejecting family and friends, not wanting to hang out, not wanting to be around them, getting upset when their online time has been taken away from them, or when they're just not able to be online, and then quickly minimizing a screen if a parent or an adult walks around, slamming their Chromebook down or hiding their phone in their pocket. These are all things that could be a sign of grooming, but they're obviously signs that it could just be something else. But these are some of the major ones. Moving on to sexting. It's the sending or posting of nude or partially nude images. Now, depending on the content of that image, the angle or the suggestive nature of that image, it can very well be considered child pornography. And that's what we're coming in contact with our middle school kids, our high school kids. They think it's just an innocent picture of themselves. But like we looked at the state statute, it's technically child pornography. And depending on the severity, depending on the victim, if they want to press this down the road, they can have a legitimate complaint for a felony. Some of the ones that we've had, families haven't wanted to make it a formal issue, so it turns into a counseling and an education process for the kids and the families involved. But at the core of it, what the image is, it is enough to warrant a child pornography charge. So 15% of teens have admitted to sexting. I'm guessing that's a lot higher than that. And 27% say that they've received one as well. Again, I'm guessing these numbers are higher. These numbers come from the Center of Missing and Exploited Children, just for your if you're wondering where numbers come from. So why are they doing it? To be funny, to impress their crush or someone they might have a relationship with, or they're starting to have a relationship with, peer pressure or threats, experimenting with relationships, sexual behavior, and boundaries is the big one. I think what we're seeing in the middle school is that want for acceptance and immediate gratification. So they're going to snap a pic of themselves and send it to their boyfriend or girlfriend. The consequences, however, can be really severe. Humiliation, bullying, blackmail, school discipline, and ultimately police involvement if it gets to that point. The humiliation and bullying thing, the blackmail, that's going to come in when we talk about sextortion. Now, sextortion, oftentimes victims will know the extorter. It's usually a current or former romantic partner. And they may very well have a picture of their partner legitimately from while they were in the relationship. The relationship ends, and now the extorter, the sextorter, wants something. They either want more pictures, or they want to get back into the relationship, and they're going to threaten the victim with that picture or picture that they have in order to get what they want. Now, 69% of the time, they're saying that the offender is known to the victim. Like I said, it's someone that they were probably in a legitimate relationship at one point. Other times, the offender was met online, randomly in a chat room or on a video game platform that is being streamed that you can talk to literally anybody in the world whenever you want to. And there's a chat dialogue along the side, and anyone can reach out to anyone wherever they are, any time of day. So with the sextortion thing, if the person is known, they acquire the image, like I said, usually an ex-romantic partner, and then they move to the threats to get more of the images, or they want money, they want to get back into the relationship. When we get to someone who's not known, the offender will often approach the child on social media. They will use social media to learn what the kids are into, what their interests are, who their friends are, where they go to school, who their family is, and dig into someone and then reach out to them. Once they've established a fake rapport with the student or child, they'll probably move to a different platform then, or several other platforms, to try and get to another platform that is encrypted, that can't be traced, that makes our job incredibly difficult to track them down. The one that we are dealing with at the middle school currently, we have found that the offender is in the Netherlands. I want you to think about that for a minute. He's all the way across the world in the Netherlands, and he reached out to 2 of our students at the middle school. So it doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter where they are, they will find someone who's vulnerable and needs something. So once they've established that rapport, they've got a little bit of a relationship going, then they really crank it up and they move into coercion, intimidation, and threatening. They initially offer something of value, like I mentioned earlier, gift cards, drugs, phones, iPads, in exchange for that initial image. They pretend to work for a modeling agency, also another thing that we saw. They develop that false rapport. They may secretly record the video or images as well with a secondary device so that it's stored somewhere else. They threaten to physically assault the child or their family. They use multiple identities, different screen names, handles, in order to talk to the child as a different person, even though it's the same person. They pretend to be younger. This is a very common one, or a member of the opposite sex based on the victim. They'll hack accounts, steal images, threaten to commit suicide or self-harm if they don't get what they want. They're incredibly ruthless, and they'll do whatever they need to get more of what they are looking for. So what can you do? Talk about technology. In my opinion, in the opinion of the Center for Exploited Children, they should grow up expecting that their parents are going to be part of their digital lives and that they're going to have regular check-ins with their phones and their devices. You can also include them in setting the rules and boundaries of how to use the device, where to use the device, when to use the device. In my opinion, there's no reason for internet access to be in a kid's bedroom when the kid's by himself. What we've seen, what I have seen, there's no good that's going to come from that. You take your iPads, you take your Chromebooks, phones. There's no reason for it to be in a bedroom or a separate room alone after they get home from school or before they get home or before they leave for school. The internet access and the technology is just, it's really causing issues here. Doesn't need to be unsupervised. And be involved. I know just from doing this presentation, I had to learn a lot about all these different apps that the kids are using. That is one area of my job where I am definitely behind. But as parents, stay current with the apps that are out there. Download them yourself and use them so that you are familiar with them and you know the ins and outs of them, so that when you see it on your kid's phone, you know exactly what's going to happen and what you're going to find and how you're able to find it. So stay up to date with technology and the apps that are out there. And also, be nosy, please. Be a parent, be nosy, get in their stuff. You pay for that phone more than likely. They don't have a right to privacy necessarily. Now that's something you need to decide on your own with your kids on the trust level between your kid, but they need to earn it first. Get into their stuff, look at their stuff, know their passwords, find out whether or not they have multiple accounts on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. I know kids don't really use Facebook anymore, but kids have multiple accounts. I can assure you that. And whatever they show you, there's probably one or two other ones that they show their friends or that their friends have access to that you have no idea about. So my biggest thing is don't be afraid to be nosy. So, a personal experience of mine while on patrol 2 years ago, January of 2020. It was about 9:15 in the evening. My shift got done at 10, so I was getting ready to go home. And I got sent to one of the local hotels in Grafton. The reason for the call was that the lady working at the front desk called us saying that there was a middle-aged man checking in with a very young female and that it just didn't feel right, is what we were told. We got there, I talked to the lady at the desk. She told me that a middle-aged white male checked in with a very young female who she thought was underage. This female was standing off to the side in the lobby, didn't make eye contact with the lady at the desk. She just thought it was strange. So we went upstairs and I knocked on the door. I talked to the gentleman. He explained to me a story about how he had met someone months ago when he was in California, and that on that day, he received a phone call from this person saying, "Surprise, I'm in Milwaukee. Can you come pick me up?" So he left work and picked her up at the airport, brought her back to the area. That all seemed kind of strange to me, but okay. Let me talk to the female. She comes to the door, I identify her. She happened to be a 25-year-old female, well above, the adult age, but her age and the age of the gentleman seemed a bit extreme. Told her to tell me what the story was. She gave me a very similar story of how she had met him out in California months ago, and she wanted to surprise him. So I ran her information, or got her driver's license, ran her information. And usually when you run someone's information over the radio, you get a response over the radio. I got a response via cell phone that night. That is usually a bad sign. So I excused myself and went down the hall, talked to dispatch. Dispatch informed me that the female that I had run had an active warrant through California for child prostitution, and she was wanted for 18 counts of it and had $1 million bail. So, hooked her up, took her to jail. The next day, Napa County, California sent 2 detectives to come extradite her and take her back to California. The story was that she was working at a youth center in California, recruiting young juvenile girls out of a youth center, and her plan was to bring them to the Milwaukee area because the Democratic National Convention was going to be going on that summer. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have been here. But she was here in January getting set up for something that was going to happen in the summertime and was going to be running it right out of a hotel here in Grafton. Now, doesn't involve any of our kids. It involves one middle-aged male in the area, but the point of it is that the trafficking aspect, the juvenile aspect of this is very rampant, and it was brought right to our backyard. I just want you to think about what it is your kids are doing. I want you to be nosy. Personally, I don't care if they get mad at you. I would want them to get mad at you, I guess, because that means you're doing your job as a parent. You're getting into their stuff. You're giving them the support and the love that they need in order to keep them safe. So if you get to a point where your kid gets upset with you, try and remember that. You're keeping them safe from a lot of potential danger out there. So that's my spiel. I'm going to pass it along to Allie and Rachel so they can talk about a situation we had. Let's see. The first one will be from last school year, and the second one will be from about a month ago. So thank you.
All right. Another situation that we had in one of our grade levels last year was a large group of middle schoolers. I won't say the grade, but they were all in the same grade. Accidentally reported that there was inappropriate pictures being shared within the friend groups. And so Rachel and I started to investigate that, and it ended up being a significant amount of students involved in this in our district as well as other districts, some of them not even in the state. So that meant that there was inappropriate pictures that were considered child pornography of our students in the Grafton School District being sent between each other and also to other students outside of our district. We ended up having to get police involvement because of the fact that some of the pictures were considered child pornography, like I said, and the police had come and some of those phones were taken away. Families were contacted immediately, and the police took turns walking through and talking to each of those families. So this was an example of something that just by chance we came across, and we're really thankful that we did, because no one knows, those kids don't realize who their pictures are going to end up with. And that's just very scary and a very dangerous situation. So that was right here, that kind of hit home with Rachel and I, and that's when we started this conversation of we need to do more. We need to do more to educate parents. We need to do more to educate our kids because of the fact that technology and social media is not going to go away, and we need to make sure that they know how to protect themselves in the virtual world. That was on Snapchat, by the way. So we'll explain, a lot of you might already know what Snapchat is or how to use Snapchat, but we're gonna explain a little bit more about why Snapchat is so dangerous. But middle schoolers, and I know high schoolers, really utilize the convenience of Snapchat, and that was a prime example of why Snapchat's not always great.
All right, so then the second example is actually from this school year, as Officer Alfonsi mentioned. It actually happened about a month ago. This actually was also just discovered accidentally through a conversation with one of our current middle school students. They ultimately ended up receiving money, those gift cards, from a stranger online. And upon further investigation, the stranger was asking for videos from our student. We actually will be reading parts of the transcript that went between the student and the predator. It was given by parent permission. Some of the parts of this transcript may be uncomfortable to hear. We just wanted to give you a heads up, but we think it's important that you hear the actual conversations that were happening between our student and the predator. This conversation actually happened on an app called Twitch, which is another one that we will show you as well. We'll go through it, we'll pull it up, you'll get to see how it all works. But we will start with that. Allie will be reading the part of the predator, and I will be reading the part of the student. This conversation takes place just over a couple of weeks.
So I'm the predator. Hello, are you interested in doing foot modeling? I can pay you $50 a video if you are. Let me know if you want more information.
Who are you? Because $50 sounds like a scam, and I don't like that. And what do you mean by foot modeling?
Foot modeling is just making vids of your feet. It's not a scam. I will pay you $50 for a video, but I can only pay with gift cards like Fortnite, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, etc.
Do I know you? Well, wait, can I do it on a different channel so I don't do it on my gaming channel?
You don't have to upload it to Twitch. You can record it on your phone and upload it to this website. Here's a tutorial. Do you know how to record it on your computer?
Yes, and do I know you?
No.
Then how are you going to pay $50?
Gift card. I can send you the code. What kind of gift card do you want? Steam, PS, Xbox, Nintendo, or something else. Also, what country are you from? I'll send you a free $10 card.
The US, and do you watch my gaming channel?
I watched a little, yeah. What kind of card do you want? Fortnite, maybe?
So then the conversation continues, and the student and the predator are discussing what kind of gift card the student would like. And the student asks, and what is going to happen with foot modeling?
That's up to you. Do you want to try it?
What do I have to do?
You record yourself with your feet in front of the camera and wiggle your toes for 7 minutes. Then you just upload the vid and send me the link.
That is kind of weird.
It's up to you.
And how do I trust you?
I can pay you half before you make the vid and then half after you send me the vid if you still don't trust me. You need to show the bottom of your feet. As long as you do that, you should be good.
Why do you need that? Why do you need the bottom of my foot?
I don't know, because I like foot modeling vids. Like I said, it's up to you. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
So what do you do with it? I'm not understanding.
Nothing. I just watch it. It's like ASMR for me, I guess.
So then the conversation continues with personal emails actually being exchanged, gift cards were given, and a continuation about the discussion whether or not this should be over live stream or recorded and uploaded to the site that the predator asked for.
So then the predator picks up with, there's trolls on Twitch that report channels for no reason, and if they do that while you're making the vid, then you did all that work for nothing.
Like who? It hasn't happened yet.
That's because you don't stream every day. It happens all the time. Plus, putting it on Twitch is like giving it away for free to everyone except me. That's not fair to me because they didn't pay for it.
Well, you're going to pay for it, and just because I posted on Twitch doesn't mean that they want my foot. You paid for my foot, they want the gaming stuff, not my foot.
Sorry, but if I'm not paying for it, if it's on Twitch. If you want the money, you need to record it and upload it. I'm paying too much money for it to go on Twitch. Even if you do that, Twitch quality is worse than recording quality. Why don't you want to record it? It's easy.
And then the discussion continues of the predator not wanting the student to use Twitch to upload the video because they would not be able to continue to see that video, and the student's site could be taken down. So the predator continues with,
Wait, so you want to record gameplay and only have the face cam at the bottom really small? Then yeah, I can't pay for that. Twitch quality is already not good. If you make the face cam smaller, then it will be even worse. I'm paying you for this, and it's only 7 minutes long. It's not that hard, and I'm paying a lot of money. I want it recorded. Just think about it. You don't have to answer right away.
no, there is a thing I can do half and half, or something else.
Half is not good enough when I'm paying money. Like I said, just think about it. If you really needed the money, then you wouldn't care that much about putting in a little bit of work to get it.
Dang, you're tough.
So at this part, the predator and the student continue talking about recording it and where and what platform to use. And the predator picks up where he says, hey, your friend already sent me a vid. He's quick. Are you still planning on making one or no?
Yes, lots of family problems, and no more with people I know because they're going to tell the whole school. So please no more and verify with me before to see if I agree.
I see. Hope that gets better and okay.
The student uploads a video and said, there is that vid. I'm sorry if the lighting is bad. I have horrible lighting in my room.
Yeah, the light is really low, but that's okay, I guess. If you want to do another one, you can do it in another room, or maybe shine a light. Anyway, let me get you your cards.
I can try better with the light. It might be the bulbs.
That sounds good. Anything to make the lighting better is great, since it's so important. At this part, the predator gives a $50 gift card to the student.
Thanks, I'll do more when I have time.
Sounds good, and thank you for making the vid.
I'm sorry of the wait.
No problem, I'm just happy you finally did it. I've been scammed lots before.
I can believe it.
Yeah, some people are just mean, but you're nice. Thanks again. The conversation continues, and at some point, the predator starts to offer the student hundreds of dollars worth of gift cards.
So at this point, this is when we discovered the situation. So we told parents to take the device to the police station, and then upon further investigation, they discovered that another student was actually involved in this as well. And the student actually initiated this conversation with the predator because they were hearing about the money being exchanged. So in this, we'll read also transcripts from this as well with parent permission. And I will again be this student, and Allie will be the predator in this scenario as well. Hi, I know student 1. I like the deal. Can you tell me more?
Hello, nice to meet you. I haven't heard from student 1 in a while. I'm guessing he's not interested anymore, LOL. Anyway, sure. Basically, you record yourself with your feet in front of the camera and wiggle your toes. Then, you just upload the vid and send me the link. I pay $50 for 7 minutes. I can pay in gift cards. I'm guessing you're from the USA like him. I just need to know which gift cards you want. Steam, PS, Xbox, Nintendo, Fortnite, Minecraft, or something else.
Minecraft and Nintendo Fortnite.
I can do those. Do you know how to record and upload videos?
Yes.
Cool. Can you do a test? Can you upload something quick to this site just to make sure?
At this time, the student tries to upload a video, and the predator says,
Cool, that worked. When would you like to make the video?
the one I sent?
You sent me a picture, which is fine. I meant when do you want to make the foot modeling video?
Oh, okay.
It's up to you when you want to do it. Just let me know if you're going to do it soon, and I'll pay you half of the money up front. Then, when you send me the video, I'll send you the other half.
I am doing it.
Awesome. What card do you want first?
PS4.
Cool. Here's the first $25.
And then the student uploads the video, and more gift cards are exchanged. And the predator, the predator says,
Did student 1 say why he didn't want to do it? I'm hoping he still wants to, but I don't think he does. Anyway, thanks for the business and enjoy the money.
he set this up for me, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, thanks anyway. Have a good one. Then they continue talking about gift cards, and the predator gives him one.
And then the student says, why does student 1 get infinite videos? And then the predator takes a few hours to respond, and so the student says, hello?
He gets more videos because I invited him to do it.
Oh, okay.
I'll make you a deal. I know student 1 is going to send a lot of vids. So every time he sends me 4 vids, I'll let you make one.
Okay, thanks. And then the student uploads a video.
Next time you make a vid, be sure to record it with the phone sideways, not vertical.
And then the predator sends more gift card codes. So every time we said that the predator was giving money or exchanging, those are through those gift card codes that Officer Alfonsi was mentioning before. And as you can see, like how quickly this escalated, like another student got involved because they really liked that this one student was getting money and actually reached out to the predator. And then it escalated very quickly from $25 gift cards. I'll give you just a free $10 one just for trying it. And then as the conversation continues, as Allie mentioned in that first transcript, it ended up being offers of hundreds of dollars in gift cards for that student. And again, that was through Twitch, and we're gonna go through that and show you, but that is just a random person on the internet who reached out to one of our students and then exploited them. And you can see how very quickly this can escalate because this all happened in a matter of a couple of weeks. So what we're gonna actually talk about is the remainder of the time, we're gonna talk a little bit more about what we're seeing at the middle school level specifically, but this definitely translates to the high school level. And then we're gonna show you some tips, talk about those things, and then we're actually gonna walk through some of the apps for you and show you exactly how they work so that you're aware. As far as our knowledge, we've actually talked to some students as well, so they could show us things that we might not always be aware of too on how these apps work. So we surveyed our John Long Middle School students anonymously recently, and over 50% of our 6th through 8th graders took this survey. So a large population took it, so that was helpful. As you can see, in order of popularity, these are the top apps that our students actually reported that they use most frequently. So that includes YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitch, and Discord. And Discord, when you download it, actually shows 17 up is who it's recommended for. 59.8% of the students who took the survey reported that they have communicated with someone they do not personally know. So they do not know them in real life at all. And then 31.3% of our students who took the survey reported that their parents did not know or were unsure if their parents knew of all of the apps and the things that they had on their phone, which is pretty concerning. Those numbers, especially talking to the strangers, 60% of the reporting of our kids said that they're communicating with strangers. And as we read and indicated, like, they're talking to people who do not have good intent for our kids. So the next several slides are actually going to talk about how to keep your kids safe, what you can do as a parent. Some of it's actually be reiterated from what Officer Alfonsi said, but we think it's important to continue that message. A lot of this information comes from Savvy Cyber Kids and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So the first thing is that be involved piece. Be in your kids' information, know what's going on, know the apps your kids are on. Like, download them yourself, check it out. Who are they communicating on social media with? Even if you are using different filters for your students, make sure that it's age appropriate. And sometimes those different safety softwares, they don't always work. So make sure you're doing your research, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And keep in mind that just because your boundaries and your restrictions in your home are one way, that doesn't necessarily mean who they're hanging out with are the same. So it's important to keep in mind that, you know, you might limit Snapchat, but that doesn't mean they don't have access at their friend's house or with their friends. So it's important to kind of just be involved with your kids' life as a whole, who they're hanging out with, who they're communicating with. Keep those open lines of communication. I know that it can be hard for middle and high school kids to want to always open up with their parents, but always continuing that conversation is very important. And then your child sees what you do. So how you're modeling your technology use is really important. If you know you're on social media a lot, they're going to see that and they're going to want to do that as well. So just modeling those healthy technology behaviors is very important.
All right, so we also recommend that you can stay there, it's fine. We also recommend that you just teach your kids how to stop, think, and connect before they post, to not be impulsive about it. So some of the questions that you could encourage your child to think about is, if I forward this picture, will something bad happen to me? What will people think of me? What will people think of the other person that I'm posting about? Or is this the right thing to do? So just teaching your kids to stop and think before they put something out there that they can't take back. And just continue the dialogue, continue talking to your kids. There's always going to be new technology. There's always going to be different platforms and different things that come out and different phones and everything. So just continue that dialogue, stay up to date with your kid, and grow with your kid in that. And then just be available to them and help them understand the experiences that they are seeing in their virtual world. And then this one is one that really hits home for me just based on the work I've done with students, because kids cannot distinguish between friends in the virtual world and friends in real life. So often I have kids come to my office and they start talking about a fight they had with their friend, right? And I think it's somebody in the school. And then I find out that it's actually a virtual friend that they've never even met before. So that's scary to me, and that's happening on a regular basis. So helping your child to understand that their friends are the ones that they're seeing in person, that their online friends that they're not seeing in person are not actually real friends. They don't believe that. I've had that conversation with them, and I've had students say, but no, they're my friends. I talk to them all the time. I've heard their voice, and I think just continuing to monitor that and continuing to help your child understand that there is a difference. There is a difference, and what you share with that virtual friend should not be the same as what you share with your friend in person.
All right, so just some other things to keep in mind as far as technology use. Make sure everything's updated. All your devices and the software, as the manufacturers and the creators come out and they say, hey, we fixed these bugs, these problems, make sure you're updating those things because they're adding new safety features and just making those things better and oftentimes a little safer for our kids. Make sure that you have antivirus products on your computers and your devices. You know, hackers are very good at what they do, and we want to keep you and your kids safe online. And then you can use, there are safety software monitoring devices and programs that you can use and add to your kids' phones or iPads or however you're allowing them to access that technology. We just have a couple up here through some quick research. There are a lot of options. I highly recommend researching what's best for you and your family and the needs that you have. But some of them include Bark, Casper Key, and FamiSafe. And like I said, these are just a handful of options, but we really encourage you to keep looking and researching and finding what's best for you and your family there. And then the last kind of tip that we have, or one of the last tips we have, is that understand technology. So we're actually, in just a few minutes, we're going to go through some of the top apps that those kids reported, but understand it for yourself. So, you know, how are your kids accessing the internet? Where are they accessing the internet? What sites and apps and things are they downloading on their phones? Read the policy statements on the apps and the different things. I know they can be long and a little tedious, but that's really important because if something should happen, you want to know kind of what the app's responsibility is, what your responsibility is, what law enforcement's is, just to keep yourself protected and aware. And then, you know, some apps and games can kind of help limit who your child can talk to. You can add some of those restrictions. We'll show you some of that on a couple of the apps, but oftentimes there's a way to work around it. So we highly recommend just being involved. Know the passwords for your kids' things. You know, have access to everything because that's really important to understanding their technology in their world.
And I think it's also important to note that, like, just because you might have social media on your phone, like you might have Snapchat. I have Snapchat. I have TikTok, right? But like kids are so sneaky. Like even Rachel and I, as we're familiar with some of these apps. And as we were going through the ones that we're familiar with, we realized that there's so many ways that even if you know the apps, kids are finding ways to still hide them from you, still hide content from you. And so that's part of what we'll go over as well.
So these are the 5 different things that we're going to actually be going through. So I'm actually going to be pulling up my phone on the screen. So this is all going to be live for you guys. So you'll see exactly what's going on. So I just put all of the apps that we're going to be talking about on this one screen. But we're actually going to start with Instagram. So it's this little one right here. As you can see, it opened up. So this is my Instagram. So kids can follow people and different things, and they can actually like scroll through it. But as you can see, I have a Target ad. I love Target, but I'm not following them. It's sponsored. Any business, any person can sponsor a post. So your kid could see anything on there kind of coming up. And you can continue going through that. If you go up here in your top right-hand corner, there's this little message button. So these are people who have like direct messaged me. They're my friends. I know who they are. But actually, as you can see, I have a 1 request up here. So this is from someone I do not know. They're just reaching out to me. It's about my dogs, but it could be for your kids. It could be anybody asking for anything, for additional pictures. So they're just finding people randomly to add those things. So I'm just going back. So down here in the corner, you can see my little icon picture. If I hold that down, it comes up with my name, my username, but if you can see, it says login or create a new account. So if your student has multiple accounts, they can easily toggle between them and just select the next account. So if you're not aware of seeing that, you're able to quickly find if they have other accounts. If I go into my page, you can see all the pictures and things like that. So kids are posting anything. You can make it private. They can do that. But not all of our students do that. They don't use those privacy settings. But as you can see here too, like there's like these different areas, so they can create stories. So stories come up, anybody can see them if they're public, and they'll just show up in people's like reels or in their search. But if I click the espresso one, you're going to see pictures of my puppy. But kids are posting different things. Sometimes there's bullying things that are going on, creating mean accounts about other kids or about groups of students. So that is kind of how Instagram works. You can search things, you can actually purchase things. There's like shopping on there. You can see different reels and things going on. So students are able to access a lot of content that you might not always deem as appropriate. Oftentimes there's just random things coming up. Right now there's a corgi on the screen, but you can just imagine the things like, I didn't even search for this. This was just something randomly that came up. So your kids can be exposed to anything on Instagram.
All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about is Snapchat. So very commonly used app. And the thing with Snapchat is you can have it so your location is set. So often, if your child is friends with people on Snapchat, or random people add them, or people make up a fake name and they think it's someone they know and it's actually not, Snapchat has a setting where it automatically shows your location unless you turn it off, which is terrifying, right? So I always have mine turned off, but I always think about like kids, they might not even know that that's on, and then you can find right where they are. Another problem with Snapchat is kids think the pictures just disappear, right? So that's where the sexting situation came into play, where they were taking those pictures and they thought that once the person on the other end opened it, it would disappear. What we found out is that the kids that were receiving the pictures were actually using iPads or another phone or something like that and taking a picture of what was on the Snapchat. So, because what Snapchat does is if you screenshot it, it will show the sender that you screenshotted that picture, so they'll know that you saved it. It'll show if you save it to your camera roll. So it automatically alerts the person who sent you the picture or the video or whatever it was that they saved it on their end. So kids figured out really quickly how to get around that. And so with the sexting situation, there was tons of pictures and videos saved on devices of our own kids because kids were just taking pictures with their iPads and still had the pictures, and then the other person who sent it had no idea. So there's always a way around that, and encouraging your kids to just not send anything that they shouldn't be sending because they think it just disappears. It says opened and they think it's gone, but it's not.
And then the other thing is like you could be checking your kids' camera roll, but there is a part of Snapchat where it can pull up and there's a section that says My Eyes Only. So if I selected that, I need a passcode to get into it. So this is what happened with a lot of the sexting situation, is that kids would save it on their camera roll, upload it to the My Eyes Only section of Snapchat, and then deleted it from their camera roll. So
and a lot of parents aren't aware of that My Eyes Only or what that means, and only the kid has the passcode.
Yeah. So I encourage you to ask your kids to open that up for you. So like if I entered in my passcode for it, you can see I added a couple pictures into the My Eyes Only for you to be able to see. But it's very easy to keep things secretive and hidden from parents in this way, especially like if you are checking their pictures. It's very easy to hide it in Snapchat. And that is just found by going into the camera.
It's kind of sneaky, actually.
It's
hard
sneaky.
to get to. Yeah.
So you go to the camera section of it, and then you actually, so I have an iPhone, and you just slide it up. Oh, see. Gotta be real careful. There you go. And so I just slide it up. So it's easy to, like you just saw, like I struggled just now trying to get it up. So you just go to the camera roll and you're gonna slide up on like the main picture part of it right here. And then it'll come up and it's on My Eyes Only. So that's really important to know and to be checking for your kids. We can go through that with you guys too, because like I needed to practice it a few times.
Because when you first log into, if you would first pull up your child's like Snapchat app, more than likely what you'll just see is a running like list of their recent people that they've been Snapchatting with. And all it will say is like opened, 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 showing that the people opened it, but that's like all you'll really see initially when you see, yeah, you can see like opened, opened, or on the second one it says I sent her something and she screenshotted it. So that's what you would initially see. So when you are looking for the My Eyes Only, yeah, you have to make sure to go to the video part.
And what's important too is you can actually see that I created a group right here. So there's 2 people in the group. So part of the issue becomes too is that kids are creating groups with their friends in it, and then multiple kids are seeing it. Multiple kids can screenshot things. So, and then they can send it to their friends. And like I said, most kids have access to multiple devices. So they're very easily, like Allie was saying, to take pictures of it. So now, instead of maybe just between 2 students, it's between 6 or 7. And then if they send it to 1 or 2 kids, you can just see how quickly that can get out of control and out of hand.
Because you can also text.
And then
it's like
text
texting
it.
Conversations, yeah. And then they disappear usually unless it's saved to the chat.
Yeah. So that is kind of a little bit about how Snapchat works. And then the next one is TikTok.
Yeah, so TikTok is an app where it's primarily videos and reels. The problem with TikTok is that anything can pop up. And I've been on TikTok and there are things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my students have this app. Like such inappropriate things. Like there's drug references, sexual content that is way too mature for our students. Language, I mean, just everything that you can think of. And a lot of it is visual, so there's visual things you're not gonna want your kids seeing either. So, and the more they watch those videos, the more stuff like around that pops up on their news feed. So if I were to watch something with drug references a couple times, I would start to get multiple videos from the public or whoever's posting it on my news feed. So you're just exposed and bombarded with more of those videos.
And it's not even that the kids, because you, like, I can scroll and then there's like the liking, like you can like something. So like kids are getting multiple things even without them liking it. Like if they spend too long on an app or on a video, like I'm trying to scroll because I don't all know what's gonna show up. But like they don't even have to like it. Like they can just sit there and watch the video and then they'll just get more like that because the algorithm shows like, oh, they spend a couple minutes watching just this one video on this one topic. And that's kind of what happens. So it can very quickly get out of hand for our students. And even like Allie said, like there's things that I'm like, why is this showing right now? So one really key feature is that if you go down to the inbox on the bottom, you can see that anybody can message your kid. Anybody can message me. They can send videos. It can be chatting. So
they can follow you.
Yep. So there's a lot of that. Again, you can set privacy pieces to TikTok. But we found that kids often have multiple accounts on their TikTok as well. So it's really important that you're completely aware of how your kids are accessing this and how many accounts that they are because it's very easy to create them.
I think another thing about TikTok that's bothered me lately is I've seen videos, because we've had reports or whatever, I've seen videos of our students and the ones they've made. And those were concerning because as a mom myself, I'm like, oh my God, I would not be okay with my daughter making this video of her dancing, showing skin, and this is out in the public and her parents probably don't even know. So that bothers me as well. The kids are just making these videos and it's so easy to upload them and then they're just out there.
So there's a couple of cool features in TikTok that we've discovered through learning about it. So if you go down to the profile down here, you can click up on the 3 lines on the very top. And there are some different options here. So I highly recommend if you have your kid has TikTok to go through all of them. But 2 that I personally really like is the digital well-being one. So if I click that one, it can control the screen time management, so how long they are actually allowed to be on TikTok. And you can often set passwords and passcodes that your kids don't need to know to limit that. And then also restricted mode. So it'll take off anything that might be inappropriate that TikTok has like flagged as potentially inappropriate. And again, you can have a passcode that just you know about and your kid doesn't have access to that. The other one is the family pairing one. So this is even more restrictive than that time management one and the digital well-being. So this is like setting that limit on your teen's watch time, limiting content that is not suitable for teenagers, managing the privacy and safety, and you get to choose whether your student has a public or private account. So it's not up to them, it's up to you whether or not it is. So if I clicked on continue, it says like who is using that account. So you can choose if it's a teen or if it's yours, and then you can go through the steps to set that up for your kid. We recommend using as many of the safety features, especially since they are minors. And that's really important, as Officer Alfonsi had mentioned at the beginning, like they're minors and the things that they're accessing and posting could be felonies potentially, depending on what's going out there. The last one is actually Twitch, and this is where the grooming situation that we read the transcripts from occurred on. So Twitch is a streaming game, so typically people are recording themselves playing video games, and then students watch them. So I could click on any of these recommended channels, which is what that's referring to, and then it just shows the video of the person playing the game. You can see that like people can send messages back and forth. You can see it's happening right now on it, and I just exited out of that. What is really scary and how our kids communicated with this person and how they reached out is our student had a streaming service, like they had one of the streams going on, the person reached out to them, and they did that through something called Whispers. So you can start a conversation and you can just look up anybody on it, right? So like I could, if Allie had an account and I knew about it and I saw her messaging on that like platform during that live stream, I could just randomly reach out to her. Or like our student who is a minor, often they have little pictures of themselves in the corner while they're playing that game on the larger screen and say, oh, I want to talk to that kid. So that's where that happens. Like there isn't a lot of safety features on Twitch. It's very public, very open. Kids are using it for that reason, to kind of like learn how to game. But the problem is people with malicious intent are on there and they're trying to contact our kids and talk to them. And we've read that transcript word for word, and this is the service it came under.
Yeah, and did you mention that the person that contacted our student on Twitch actually clicked on a certain age range? Mm-hmm. And so they were specifically targeting a specific age range, and it was the middle school age.
Yeah. So, and that would be under that discover and then that search button, like that's how they would use it to find those kids of that age range. So those were like the top apps that our students are using. Something that we discovered during our last year, during that sexting situation, was something called a vault. Oh, it's not on anymore. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Black on the laptop.
Yeah, it's just black on the laptop. There we go. Thank you. Right. See if we can pull up the vault. Okay. Sorry. Perfect. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So the last thing we want to talk about is vaults. So vaults we discovered, again, through the sexting situation. So I have the vault very easily seen on this screen. It's the one with the 1, 2, 3. But if you're just quickly scanning through to see the apps your kids have on your phone, it looks just like my calculator app on my phone. So it is a purposeful app because, and there's many out there, I just chose one. So students use it to hide photos of inappropriate content. So what happens is I can click on this and I can enter a passcode in it. So I'm actually going to enter the wrong passcode because I think this is really important for you to be able to see. So nothing happened, it just said enter passcode. So I'm gonna enter the right passcode in there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to settings and I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna go down to break-in alert. So it took a photo of me just now trying to break into that Vault app. So the kids could see, oh, you tried to get into my Vault app. You tried to do that. And you may, if you don't know the passcode to it, you may never be able to get in and see what photos are in there, but they'll know that you're sneaking into their phone and trying to get access to it. In this has a lot of different things. So they can have hidden contacts in here. So their passwords can be in here. So like if they're trying to hide passwords for different things, so if they have multiple accounts and they can't remember it, so they can hide that in here. Albums, so this is where those pictures can be, so they can easily tap, and it walks you through, like I could do it right now, create my own album of pictures of whatever I wanted them to be. And then browsers even, so like these are like additional apps that help from this company but can help hide things. So it tracks their followers if that's important to them, their music, additional vaults out there. So there are a lot of options for students, which I feel like the vaults are fairly scary because if you aren't sure what to look for, you might just be scrolling really quick and be like, oh, it's just a calculator app. Because if I had it hidden within, you probably would have thought that as well within my other apps.
And we've had pretty young students admit that they have vaults on their phones. So the kids are learning this at a very young age. I know, like when we were kind of researching this, I went on my own phone and just for the research part of it, tried downloading the vaults. And there's like a ton of them, and it specifically says the purpose is to hide the pictures, to hide text message conversations. So all your kid has to do is just go to the store and look up like vault, and they have it all available to them. So our final thoughts, we want you guys to know that we want to team with you guys as parents. You guys know your kids best, and we have them at school. And so this is definitely a partnership, it's teamwork. We want kids to know that technology isn't bad, social media isn't bad, but there are dangers and we do want to keep them safe. So we want to encourage you guys as parents on your end to be empowered, to be involved, to stay informed, and as Officer Alfonsi said, to be nosy, and that he mentioned you guys pay for that device. I've had personal conversations with parents where the parents feel peer pressure. Like they have the teenagers saying, well, so-and-so's mom lets them have this. You're not the cool mom. Like every other one of my friends, they all have these apps. And parents feel that. So I would just encourage you guys to talk to other parents, keep the communication open, continue doing your own research, and know like you guys can always reach out to us. If you discover something on your kid's phone that you feel like other parents might want to be aware of, as far as like apps or vaults or whatever it is, you can even reach out to Rachel and I, because that's more knowledge for us, and more than likely we're going to end up coming across that in the future. So definitely we rely on you guys. I hope that you can feel free to reach out to us, but in this crazy virtual world, we have to keep our kids safe. So we appreciate you guys coming, and we appreciate your teamwork with this.
And we will be around if you want to ask us more questions or see the apps more up close. Like we can pull them up. We both have most of them on our phones, and we can walk through some of those other pieces for you. Otherwise, again, thank you for coming, and we hope you have a great night.
Happy holidays.